Well, hello everybody. Another interview with Jim Waszak here. Today my guest is Ryan Siebert. Hi Ryan.
Hey Jim.
Thanks for letting me talk to you today.
Appreciate the
And
opportunity.
Ryan is with SG Home Builders. They build luxury homes primarily in the western suburbs, Naperville area. Of course, you know, they can go anywhere if need be. And we're just going to talk about building custom homes for a few minutes. So, Ryan, how did you get into the custom home business? I mean, guy with your looks, I would have thought you'd go into movies or something, but you choose home building.
Just didn't work out that way for me, unfortunately.
I see. Okay.
Grew up in a small town USA, so there wasn't a whole lot of headhunters for
not
movies.
too many movies being made there. Got it.
My uncle actually was in mortgages. Back in the mid-'90s, he got into a mortgage company.
Okay.
Kind of rode the tidal wave of success, deregulation with mortgages, and around 2007, when I was graduating from college, he had gotten a credit line given to him by the bank. Just here you go, because everyone could get a credit line back then.
Okay.
Shortly after the market crash,
Okay.
we had this brand new credit line. From 2008 through 2013, we had zero competition, and all we did was go out and buy, rehab, and sell over 500 projects that we sold
Super.
for profitability.
So this isn't your first rodeo?
No, it wouldn't be my
Okay.
first rodeo, and hopefully it won't be my last.
Okay.
But then the market correction happened. We went through some changes internally, and ultimately what happened is, I started out without any sort of construction experience, and we had these systems in place that we could actually take our services from a development side to the consumer. So whether it be
Okay.
that custom built home, or whether it's the remodel of a kitchen, the remodel of a bathroom, or
Right.
finishing of a basement.
Right.
And a lot of people come to us for additions because the big builders don't want to touch the
Okay.
additions, and the
Okay.
small guys, the handyman that can do a kitchen, can't do an
Can't do it,
addition.
yeah,
So
so
we've
there's like
got a lot of
a gap
a
there.
niche for us
Yeah.
right there as well.
So let's say I decide I want to build a custom home, and what would you say are 2 or 3 key points that I might want to keep in mind?
Well, for me, I'm a numbers guy. So it always comes down to the budget. What are you looking to spend, and also what are you looking to be as an all-in price point for where you want to build.
Yeah.
That's always a struggle for us because we can build whatever you want.
Right.
But if you're building $1 million home on an area where the highest price point is only $800,000, that doesn't make a whole lot of financial sense.
Okay. Okay.
So we had to look at overall how the numbers affect your overall budget, but also the value of the home in the area. The other thing that I always tell clients, when they're meeting with us, for all consumers to look at is 3 different areas of construction that contractors are going to either make or break your transaction on.
Yeah.
It's going to be the quality, it's going to be the timeline, and it's going to be the budget. Can they hit and stick to a budget? And as a consumer, you need to think about what's the most important to you.
Okay.
Every consumer says they all are. All 3 of them are.
Sure.
Well, what's
Sure.
more important?
Right.
Are you going to be more happy with a high quality product that you hit a budget but the timeline may not be that great?
Right.
Or are you going to be more happy with great timeline, great budget, but the quality's so-so?
Mm-hmm.
And you can really identify the contract that you want to work with, because most of us will tell you. I'll tell you up front, our timelines, we're skeptical on hitting the timelines 100% to what we commit to right up front.
Yeah.
I hate it,
Yeah.
but to be completely honest with you, we're going to go over 99 times out of 100.
Sure.
Our quality is
Sure.
great, and we're going to hit the budget that we put together for you.
Yeah.
So it depends on what your needs are.
So, you use the word quality, and the thought struck me that in my mind there's 2 types of quality. There's the quality where you use, the upgraded appliances instead of the basic appliances, or you use maybe oak instead of pine doors or something like that. But then there's the quality of shoddy workmanship. So I'm assuming you mean the quality of the items in there as opposed to shoddy workmanship, or do you? How did you mean
It's
it?
I don't really care what you put in your home at the end of the day. I don't have the designer's mindset where I'm going to force you to put one thing in or another. We're pretty flexible. We create that partnership with our clients.
Yeah.
So if you want to use a more economical product, we're completely fine with that. How we install it, when I say the quality of how we install that product, we have the mentality that we're going to install it the same way we would install it in our own home.
Okay.
We don't want to come back to your home unless you invite us over for a beer.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
that's the quality I'm talking about. So you can put a Thermador appliance package in, or you can put a Whirlpool appliance package in,
Okay.
both ends of the spectrum.
Right.
That doesn't bother us one way or another.
Yeah.
Obviously, the higher quality
Got it.
from the manufacturer's perspective is the Thermador. but I'm still going to install it, or we're still going to install those cabinets, that trim, that paint, whatever it is you pick, with the same amount of quality that that it takes to get it done the right way.
Sure. So, let me relate a story. So years ago, probably about 30 years ago, my wife and I had our home built. We wanted to have it just the way we did, and a couple of my ideas worked great. One or two maybe didn't work so great. But the big frustration was I felt like I never knew what was going on. It was they'd work, and then there'd be like seemingly nothing happening, and we were close enough I could stop by just about every day.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there'd be some work, and it just drove me nuts. How do you deal with that, or how do you approach that, or what should a buyer be concerned about?
It is my biggest frustration, and overall the reputation of my industry.
Mm-hmm.
The communication is terrible, and I don't know what's going on, or why are there no people at my property. And for me, I take the mentality that even if a guy's not going to show up, it's not very difficult for me, especially being a millennial, to shoot you a text message and say, hey Jim,
sure,
my drywall guy, he dropped the ball.
Yeah.
He's not showing up today. It's not going to make you any less mad at me.
Right.
But at least you know.
Right.
It is very frustrating, again, and the whole idea here is I'm a general contractor, and I have a culture and I have a mindset to communicate with every one of my clients above and beyond what anybody else is going to offer. But I'm also hiring 50 to 100 different subcontractors to build your home.
Yeah.
And odds are most of them don't really care what my culture about communication is.
Right.
Because they're working with 4 or 5 other builders,
Sure.
and it's just a matter of they're getting pushed and pulled over and over.
Yeah.
So for us, we just try to make sure we're communicating with you and giving you, at least what's going on or why someone didn't show up.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more difficult for remodeling too, because you're now in the home.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're remodeling your kitchen and my electrician says he's showing up at 8 in the morning on Tuesday morning, and he doesn't show up until 12:30, if you took the day off of work for him to be at your property, that's obviously very frustrating.
Right.
To you.
Yeah.
So we have to be able to communicate with our guys ahead of time to give you that lead time.
Right.
And hopes are you trust us enough so we don't have to worry about watching over our shoulders.
Well, actually, I'll tell you a funny story. So our house was built, and there was still a couple things left to be done, like, for example, pouring the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
And we're calling, and we're waiting, we're calling. So the church we used to go to at the time, there'd be one part of the ceremony where people from the congregation could state some intention they want everybody to pray for. And as it turned out that day, the builder was sitting literally one row ahead of me. So I was this close to saying, so-and-so can please put our driveway in. I figured I would have embarrassed him into it.
Yeah.
So do you think the communication comes from these people mostly being starting out as tradespeople and not business people, or?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it. I mean,
Okay.
It's because our industry is so seasonal that we get guys who try to scale up too quickly, and they don't understand the ramifications of, hey, I just signed 6 contracts in the last 2 years. I've only been doing 3 at a time.
Okay.
Well, they think they can handle it, but then they just totally scaled up and they don't have.
Yeah. Sure.
Especially in our the industry as a whole, the last 5% is going to be your skilled craftsmen. Whether it's your painters, your trim guys, your tile guys, and there's just not a ton of those guys out there that know how to do it the right way.
Yeah.
So when we spread ourselves too thin, and we're guilty of it just as well. When we spread ourselves too thin, all of a sudden I need one guy at 3 different locations the same day. It's just not physically possible.
Okay.
So sometimes you have to take a step back and, from a professional level, say, hey Jim, I can't commit to you today, but I'm going to commit to you on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And it's owning up to that, and again, that comes down to communication. Some people don't like telling people bad news.
You know what? It seems to me, having gone through this one time, that if you had like unlimited resources and you had all the subs there when you needed them, you could probably build a house in a couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah.
But it takes 3 months because of the scheduling.
Yep. Yeah, and again, an electrician, even on a new construction house, is going to have a fee of anywhere from $15,000 to $30,000 for a new electric throughout the whole house.
Mm-hmm.
But they've got a staff of 10, 20 people, depending on how big they
Sure.
are. They can't rely on just one house at a time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're trying to manage and scale 10
Sure.
houses at a time to
Lot
keep
of
all the
moving
gun pieces.
pieces.
So. And that's where the communication is key from us to our clients, but above that from our subcontractors to us, to you, so we can make sure we're overseeing, we're actually managing your project,
Right.
which is what you're paying us for.
Right. And I think I only have a couple more questions for you. One is maybe you could comment to our audience about the importance of getting the release of liens. A friend of mine did some remodeling, and the first builder got halfway through, went out of business, so we had to hire somebody else to finish it, and then the first contractor didn't pay the sub, so they were all filing liens. So I don't know, I think he paid for his thing like 2 or 3 times. But explain how that works to the people who maybe are new to this.
It's a level of professionalism again. Understand when you sign a contract with a contractor, they're going to have their payments just to you. But like I said, we have 20, 40, 50, sometimes 100 different subcontractors that we're paying.
Sure.
And if you're not getting a construction loan to fund your project, you need to understand the builder's process. How are they paying their guys? Because it can get very overwhelming, even for me. And I'm a spreadsheet, obsessed with spreadsheet king, whatever you want to call it. I've got them going at all times. But it gets overwhelming if you're running multiple projects. So really understanding, how does your builder do payouts? For us, we do payouts to our subcontractors every 2 weeks. My subcontractors ask us, what makes you different from any other builder? We pay.
Right.
You can't imagine how big of a difference it is just saying we pay. Because there's a lot of project managers who are chasing one job or another to fund the next project.
Right.
Whenever that happens, it's never good. But every 2 weeks we pay. We can show our clients the receipts. We can be as transparent as you want. Some clients don't really care. They just want the job done.
Right.
So again, understanding the personalities are big for us.
Sure. Okay, so last question. There's a lot of builders out there. I see signs all the time, advertising. Why you?
Yeah, I would say the big difference of me between majority of builders that are out there and remodeling contractors, you're not going to see me with a hammer, with a screwdriver on your job site ever.
Okay.
And I tell my clients, if you do, that's probably the time you pick up the phone and call the cops.
Yeah.
Although I know how to do it, that's not what I excel at. So what I excel at is bringing that professionalism. I come from more of a business mentality background, so I'm trying to bring professionalism into an industry that lacks a lot of professionalism to it. And it may be an impossible task, but if I can do it, if I can make you feel like you're comfortable, make you feel like you know what's going on, why contractors or when contractors are showing up and why they're not at all times, and watching over the budget, it becomes a partnership.
Sure.
It's a different level of experience than just I can take a couple pieces of wood and build. There's some really good skill that comes to that, but I think there's a lot of guys that can build, and the numbers get overwhelming. That's what I excel at. So just the professionalism overall is why I would say if you want to work with someone, work with me.
Super. All right. Well, I said last question before, but I do have one more. If people are interested in learning more about a construction project, if they're thinking about building a house or doing some major remodeling, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, the best way to get a hold of me is just call me on my cell phone. You can call or text 847-602-7641. You can also go to our website, sghomebuilders.com. We have all of our information, pictures, videos, and we do have quite a bit of blog information if you're actually going to read something. Believe it or not, people still do read.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Ryan.
Thanks so much.
All right, you're welcome. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Good.
All right.
You nailed it.
That was pretty painless.